Hey group, this is Chloe Cooper again. This is my second blog on Confessions of a Public Speaker. I read chapters 6, 7, and 10 this week, and I'm going to summarize those chapters really quick. Chapter 6 talked about how you can break things down in your speech, like say if you were speaking for 30 minutes, breaking it down into 5-minute intervals and telling your audience what you're going to talk about before it happens. So they know that it's going to be quick and to the point and stay and are very interested in what you have to say. The 7th chapter is about what it was like for the author to be behind the scenes during 15 minutes of when he was talking in front of the news. And the 10th chapter is questions that I think the author came up with that he thought most people who are interested in public speaking or people who do public speak would be interested in the answers of someone who is very used to public speaking and has been doing it for a while. So I'm going to go into the 6th chapter of what I think about it. 6th chapter was the most helpful for me this week. Usually when I start talking to people, I don't break down what I'm going to do first, and then I realize that what I think would have taken a long time didn't, and that my speech ended up being shorter than it probably should have been. So mine ends up being in the time limit, but it's not really straight and to the point, and people aren't as engaged because they don't know what I'm going to be talking about. So I thought that that was a really good thing, and I don't know if you noticed this, but I kind of broke that down in the beginning of this speech, that, what I was going to be talking about, so people weren't as bored and maybe might be more engaged. The 7th chapter talks about his 15 minutes of fame on the news, like I said earlier, and how probably a lot of people could sort of relate to finding it weird to talking into a random object. Like, it is weird for me right now to talk into a webcam, but when you imagine an audience, because I know which group members I'm talking to right now, it makes it easier than talking to a random object, even if you may be afraid of talking to certain people over the camera. It is still less weird than just talking to an object. So I thought that that was also very helpful. I'm using that to my advantage, and as you can see, I feel a lot more comfortable than I did last week, and for whatever reason, I think chapters 6 and 7 helped me a lot more than the first 3 chapters did with feeling awkward, and actually making me much more comfortable and being okay with talking in front of people if I can imagine a certain setting of who I'm talking to. And then the 10th chapter, like I said, was just, questions that people asked. Like, for example, what is it like to public speak in front of people? Is it comfortable for you? What do you imagine when you public speak? Do you practice it a lot? Just a lot of random questions like that most people would have. And his answers to it might not work for everyone because it's basically just his personal opinion of what he thinks. As in, like he says, I imagine people who are my audience if an audience isn't there. No, I'm not really comfortable in front of, talking to people, but I make people think that I am. Stuff like that, and, techniques that you can use to look like you're more okay. The best tip that I learned, though, that I can definitely tell to everyone, and that works for me, is act like everything's natural. Like, if you act like everything's natural, I think it comes a lot easier. So, anyways, that's what I will say to wrap things up. Act like everything's natural, and it's a lot easier. Thanks, bye.